It was 2 a.m., and I was ripped from sleep by what felt like the end of the world. My bedroom walls shook with a deafening roar of electric guitars and pounding drums, so loud my water glass danced across the nightstand. For a split second, I thought I was trapped in some fever dream nightmare, front row at a death metal concert gone wrong. But no, this was real. The chaos was blasting from somewhere in our sleepy little cul-de-sac, shattering the stillness of the night. I stumbled to my window, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and saw I wasn't alone in my confusion. Lights flicked on in every house along the street. Neighbors in bathrobes and mismatched pajamas spilled onto their lawns, pointing toward the source of the unholy noise. And wouldn't you know it, the epicenter of this midnight metal meltdown was 42 Maple Drive, the picture-perfect colonial home of Elizabeth Harper, better known to everyone in Willow Creek as Saw the Saw Lisa. Lisa, our HOA president and self-proclaimed guardian of neighborhood purity, was apparently throwing the wildest heavy metal rave our quiet suburb had ever seen. The irony hit like a sledgehammer. Just 5 days earlier, I'd been the one in Lisa's crosshairs, slapped with a formal complaint for what she called a blatant violation of community standards. It all started innocently enough. I moved into Willow Creek 3 months ago, renting a cozy 2-bedroom on the corner from an old college friend who'd moved abroad. As a freelance graphic designer working from home, I loved the peace and quiet of the neighborhood. I made a point to follow every rule in the inch-thick HOA handbook Lisa had hand-delivered to my doorstep on my first day, her smile as stiff as her starched blouse. That Saturday, I'd invited a few friends over for a barbecue to celebrate wrapping up a big project. 6 of us chilling in the backyard, grilling burgers, and listening to some low-key indie rock through a portable speaker. The volume was so reasonable you could barely hear it from the patio. We started at 4 p.m., and everyone was gone by 9:30 well before the township's 10 p.m. noise curfew. So, imagine my shock when I woke up Sunday morning to an email from the Willow Creek HOA citing excessive noise and disturbance and threatening a $200 fine for any repeat offenses. The complainant? Elizabeth Harper, HOA president. I'd barely said 10 words to Lisa since moving in, but the neighbors had filled me in. Lisa was notorious for swinging the HOA rulebook like a battle axe, especially at renters like me, whom she saw as temporary nuisances dragging down property values. Wanting to smooth things over, I walked to her house that afternoon. Her place was suburban perfection, hedges trimmed to military precision, a seasonal wreath screaming, "I'm better than you," and not a speck of dirt on the pristine siding. I rang the doorbell, forcing my best neighborly smile. Lisa answered in yoga gear, though I'd bet my house she hadn't done a downward dog in years. Her blonde bob didn't budge as she tilted her head, looking at me like I was a stray dog on her lawn. "Yes," she said, her smile colder than a winter wind. "Hi, I'm Jay from the corner house," I said, offering my hand. "I got your complaint about the barbecue. I'm sorry if we disturb you. We try to keep it low-key, but I'll be more careful next time." She ignored my hand, her smile never reaching her eyes. "The HOA has strict guidelines on noise pollution," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Some of us have lived here for years, investing VYLY in our community standards. Weekend parties don't exactly fit the VYB we've worked to maintain." I kept my cool. "I get it. It was just a small get-together, but I'll keep the volume way down next time." "Next time?" Her eyebrows shot up like I'd just confessed to a crime. "Your rental agreement clearly states that repeated violations can terminate your lease. Something to keep in mind." With that, she shut the door in my face. I walked home, shaking my head at the pettiness, unaware that this was just the start of Lisa's vendetta. Over the next few days, her surveillance kicked into overdrive. I'd catch her peeking through her blinds every time I left the house. Twice, I saw her snapping photos of my property with her phone once when a delivery driver left a package on my porch instead of hiding it, per HOA rules, and another time when my trash can sat at the curb 2 hours past pickup. Each incident triggered a new violation email, each more ridiculous than the last. By Wednesday, neighbors were giving me pitying looks. "She's building a case against you." whispered Mrs. Nguyen from across the street. She did the same to the last renters filed complaints until the owner kicked them out. Determined not to give Lisa ammunition, I turned my life into an HOA boot camp. No music, not even indoors. Car parked ruler straight in the driveway. Lawn mowed to exactly 3.5 inches. I was practically under house arrest in my own home, all because one woman had decided I didn't belong. Things took a sinister turn that Friday evening. I was on my back porch, reading a book in the quiet dusk. No music, no friends, no fun, as per Lisa's decree when I heard her voice drifting from her backyard. She sounded pissed, her tone sharp. "Alexa, connect to the guest network." No, not that one, the other one. God, do I have to do everything myself? Curious, I froze, listening as she argued with her smart speaker. From what I could piece together, she was trying to link her Alexa to various Wi-Fi networks, including one named after my house number. "Alexa, connect to 318 network," she snapped, and a chill shot down my spine. Was she trying to hack my Wi-Fi? Spy on me? Monitor my internet? Her voice grew more frantic. Finally, "Now, Alexa, listen for sound from next door." A pause. "What do you mean you can't do that?" Dis stupide device. Let me try something else." That was enough. I slipped inside, locked my doors, and hit Google. Turns out, some people use smart speakers to eavesdrop on neighbors. A shady, possibly illegal tactic. I screenshot articles about it, SAVYing them in case I needed proof. That night, I barely slept, wondering what Lisa was plotting. Little did I know, karma was about to deliver a knockout punch without me lifting a finger. Fast forward to 2 a.m. Saturday, when Lisa's house turned into a heavy metal war zone. After the initial shock, I threw on a robe and joined the neighbors outside. People were pounding on her door, calling her phone, but the music, a snarling track about chaos and rebellion, kept blaring. "Where saw she?" grumbled Mr. Callahan, our 70-year-old retired banker, looking miserable in his monogram pajamas. "My grandkids are here," another neighbor shouted. "I've called her 10 times straight to voicemail." Then Sarah, an HOA board member, dropped a bombshell. She's not home. She posted on Facebook that she's at her sister's in Springfield for the weekend. A collective groan rose as the bass rattled Lisa's wind chimes. "Should we call the cops?" someone asked. "Right on cue," sirens wailed. 2 police cruisers rolled up, and Officers Bennett and Lopez stepped out, looking unfazed despite the sonic assault. "What's the problem?" Officer Bennett asked, as if the screaming guitars weren't answer enough. "It's coming from Elizabeth Harper's house," Sarah explained. "She's not here, and we can't get in to stop it." The officers knocked, called Lisa's number, and got nowhere. "Does anyone have a key or know a relative?" Officer Lopez asked. No one did. Lisa, for all her meddling, kept her personal life locked tight. "Stand back," Officer Bennett said after a quick huddle with his partner. "We'll check the property for another way in, or at least find the source." As the officers circled the house, their flashlights cutting through the dark, someone started filming. I couldn't blame them. This was unreal. Lisa, who'd find me for playing soft indie rock in the afternoon, was now hosting a neighborhood-rattling metal concert. The cops spotted the culprit through her living room window, an Alexa flashing with each thunderous beat. Sure of breaking in, they were stuck. "We'll file a noise complaint," Officer Lopez told us. "But without imminent danger, we can't enter." Defeated, some neighbors booked hotel rooms or crashed with family. I went home, made coffee, and watched the chaos unfold, sleep a distant memory. At 6 a.m., the music stopped only to switch to another metal track seconds later. Lisa's Alexa was relentless. By now, videos of Willow Creek metal mayhem were blowing up local social media, showing Lisa's pristine home blasting death metal while neighbors in pajamas gawked. At 8:30 a.m., a silver SUV screeched in her driveway. Lisa stumbled out, her usual polished look replaced by a mess of tangled hair and wrinkled clothes. Her face was pure fury as she took in the crowd, still lingering on her lawn. The music roared on as she fumbled her keys and bolted inside. Seconds later, silence. The neighborhood actually cheered. Lisa reappeared, her face red with rage or shame, maybe both. Officer Lopez, still on scene, approached with a notepad. I couldn't hear them, but Lisa's wild gestures told the story. Defiance, then shock as she realized she was getting a citation. The crowd thinned, but the gossip was just heating up. By noon, an emergency HOA meeting was called for that evening. The email's last line was juicy. Agenda: recent noise violations and complaint procedures. I had to go, if only to see justice in action. The community center was packed. Nobody missed this one. Lisa sat at the front, unusually quiet, her posture stiff. Sarah, the VYC president, ran the show, a subtle jab at Lisa's authority. As you know, Sarah began, we had a major noise disturbance last night from the home of our HOA president, Elizabeth Harper. Lisa stood, clearing her throat, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. I apologize for the disruption, she said, her voice missing its usual bite. My Alexa malfunctioned while I was away. I was setting up a security feature, and something went wrong. What security feature needs death metal at 2 a.m.? Someone yelled, sparking laughter. Lisa's face burned. It was a vacation mode to deter burglars, she stammered. I didn't mean for it to go off like that. I couldn't resist. Isn't it true you were using your Alexa to spy on neighbors? I said, calm but loud. I heard you trying to connect to my Wi-Fi the night before you left. The room went dead silent. Lisa's eyes widened, then narrowed. That's absurd, she snapped. I was securing my own network. I didn't back down. I have reason to believe you were trying to eavesdrop, which might explain why your VYC went haywire. Whispers erupted. Sarah looked uneasy but kept control. Those are serious claims we'll handle separately. Let's stick to the noise issue. What followed was pure neighborhood karma. The HOA board, minus Lisa, who had to recuse herself, voted to fine her due law, $500, double the usual penalty. They also ruled that her future complaints needed a second board member sign-off for 6 months. The real gut punch? Sarah announced a special election for HOA president next month. This isn't just about one night, she said. It's about a pattern of hostility that's hurt our community. Lisa sat frozen, her empire crumbling as the room buzzed with shock. When the meeting ended, she bolted, ignoring the stares. The next day, I got an official notice. All Lisa's complaints against me were dismissed for lack of EVY Denke, signed by Sarah and 3 other board members. Lisa's name nowhere in sight. A week later, word spread that Lisa got a due law $375 township fine and was asked to step down from her community outreach role due to the bad press. I last saw her yanking her HOA president flag from her lawn, her movement sharp with barely contained rage. Our eyes met across the street. I gave a small wave. She turned away, but not before flinching at her Alexa's faint saw-ding-saw through her open window, a sound that clearly haunted her now. So what do you think? Was Lisa's Alexa meltdown just a glitch, or was it karmic payback for her shady spying attempt? Should HOAs have less power to police neighbors? Or are strict rules what keep communities like Willow Creek peaceful? And here's the big one. If you caught someone trying to eavesdrop with a smart speaker, would you confront them or let karma handle it? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you felt the drama, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood stories.